Hi guys, sorry I couldn't be here for you today. So go ahead and make sure you have 2.8 lesson out, not the homework. It's on page 17. So you just watched the Metamorphosis function machine cartoon, I hope. Well, these are all function machines here, guys. And make sure you understand that the first column is the x and the second column is the y. And I'll go ahead and write that, and I'd like you to do the same. And then you'll notice that I have a separate sheet of paper in front of me. So if you don't have one, go ahead and press pause, and we'll have you take one out now because you need to show your work on a separate sheet. So now that you have a separate sheet, let's go ahead and do a couple of these problems together. Number one, you copy down the equation, y equals 2x plus 3, which is the function. So if I was just to draw my little function machine here, remember this is the Metamorphosis thing here. So all the stuff that gets dropped in, something happens to it, and then it spits out. Well, in this case, this is the function machine here. Whatever you drop in here is an x. You multiply it by 2 and add 3, and then the y's are going to come out. So it's pretty easy. All you do is copy this down and just drop in all these x values that you have here into this machine and see what the y spits out. So you're just multiplying by 2 and adding 3. So first is 2 times negative 2 is negative 4 plus 3, and that gives us negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. Then you do it again. 2 times the next value. Negative 1 is the next value. You just plug that into the machine. You're just taking 2 times whatever x is, and then add 3. So double it and add 3. So 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, plus 3 is 1. Do it again with 0. So 2 times 0 plus 3 is easy. We can do that one in our heads. I'll even let you do that. Even this one's easy. 2 times 1 plus 3 is 2 plus 3 is 5, right? And then the last one, plug in this value for 2 for x. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 3 is 7. So 2 times 2 plus 3 is 7. That's where that comes from. And that's all you're doing, is you're plugging in x's and spitting out y's, and that's where these values come from. And I do want you to notice that there's a pattern. See how these are going up by 1, and these are also going up by, not 1, but from here to here is a 2. Look, this goes up 1, this goes up 2. And it follows the pattern. Every time this goes up 1 higher, this goes 2 higher. Okay, so now we're going to do the next one, problem number 2, function machine. So the only difference between number 1 and number 2, I'll do number 2 down here, is that you have a negative x. So y equals negative x plus 6. And in a function machine, that really means take the opposite of x and add 6. So what's the opposite of negative 6 plus 6 more? Well, hopefully you remember that that's 6 positives plus 6 more is 12. What's the opposite of negative 3 plus 6 more? That's 3 plus 6 is 9. Do the next plug in, so minus 2. So now, since the 2 is a positive, the opposite of that 2 is negative 2, plus 6 more is 4. Negative 4 plus 6 more is positive 2. And then negative 7 plus 6 more, negative 7 plus 6 is what? Negative 1. That was that one. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have for the teacher press pause, and I'd like you guys to do all of number 3 right now, and then compare your answers, and then check in a moment to make sure that you are right. Make sure you have 33, 11, negative 22, negative 44, and negative 55. Just plug them in here. So let's go ahead and work on number 4 here. Again, it's just a machine, function machine, nothing big. You're just taking whatever x is, multiplying by negative 4, and subtracting 1. So for number 4, y equals negative 4x minus 1. So the first value you're plugging in is negative 5. So negative 4 times negative 5 minus 1 more. Make sure you show your work because this can get tricky. Negative negative, when you multiply, means positive 20 minus 1 is 19. Right? 20 minus 1 is 19. Let's do the next one. Negative 4 times the next value. Negative 2 minus 1 minus 1. I'm jumping ahead here. That's 8 minus 1 is 7. Do the next. Negative 4 minus 1. Negative 4 times negative 1, and then minus 1 more. Got it. Negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4 minus 1 is 3. And then the next value we're plugging in is 3. So negative 4 times positive 3 minus 1. So when you multiply those, you get negative 12. Now be careful with this. A lot of you can still make this mistake. All of these, you just take away 1 from whatever this is. Take away 1 from whatever this is. Well, negative 12 minus 1 more is negative 13. So be careful with that. Make sure you remember how to subtract your negatives. And then the last one, negative 4 times this value, 4 minus 1 more. So negative 16 minus 1 more is negative 17. Okay? Okay, you're going to notice something different about number 5 and 6. Is these are just like what we did. So you guys go ahead and plug in these 3 values for x into your function machine and get your answers. After I tell you to press pause, go ahead and do these 3. Plug in this, this, and this and get your values. Press pause and do that now. Actually, do this one, and this one also. So do these 3 answers right now, just like we've done, after the teacher presses pause, and then we'll come back. So take a look and make sure you got these right answers. And for number 5, negative 34 for this, negative 4 and 21. If you need to press pause, here's the work for these 2. I assume this one was easy. So press pause if you need to go over these 2 answers. And then for number 6, negative 25, negative 22 and 5. And if you need to press pause, here's the work for those. Here's the one for negative 6, and here's the one for negative 5. So press pause and go over these if you need to, and I assume this one was easy. Okay, so now that the easy ones are done, notice the harder ones. So now guys, this time they're giving us, remember this is x and this is y, they're giving us y here. This is a y value, and they want to know what x is. So what you're going to do is, instead of dropping in the x here for this number for x, you're going to drop in the y value and find out what x is. So here we go. Y equals 5x minus 4. I'll just copy that equation again. Now, this value is not x anymore, it's y. So you're going to replace y with that value, negative 15 equals 5x minus 4. Before we were solving for x. Here we're solving for y. Here we're solving for x. So the one thing I want to make sure is that you guys correct this for me. This one actually I want you to change from a 15 to a 14. And you're going to hopefully see why in a minute. So go ahead and make that 14. And let me erase that and make it a little neater. Make this negative 14. Okay. I changed it, so don't worry, it's just there was a mistake on the keys. So now, let's add 4 to both sides, like we do when we solve any equation. So over here you're left with 5x, and now you'll see why, hopefully, I changed this. Negative 14 plus 4 is negative 10. Had I not changed this, this answer would have come out as a decimal, and we didn't want that. So you finish this equation by dividing both sides by 5, and now you got x equals negative 10 divided by 5 is negative 2. So we worked backwards. We plugged in the y value, and we got the x value. I'll do one more with you. Do number 5 when we plug in 16. So again, you're going to drop in the y value. So instead of y, you write 16 equals 5x minus 4. I'm plugging in this y value right here. Then you just add 4 and divide by 5. So 20 equals 5x, divide by 5, x equals 4. And that's where that comes from. Now I'd like you to do these two on the other one and check your answer after the teacher presses pause. Okay, you should have gotten -1 and +2, and if you need to press pause and look over the work, I plugged in these y values and just solved for x. So take a moment if you need to go over this. If not, I'm moving on. So now guys, the next one is really just kind of a puzzle. So we're going to finish this lesson like this. You're supposed to come up with the rule. You need to write the equation. What happened to this number to get it to be that number? Remember, this is x, this is y. So what can you do to x to get it to be y? Now I'm going to give you this one, but you're going to have to come up with some of these on your own too. Eventually you're just going to have to think about it. So let me say this again. Do you notice a pattern about this guy and this guy? Or this and this? Or this and this? Do you notice that this one is always one more than this one, even here? Well, how would you describe that? You would say that the y value is one more than the x value. So let me say that again. The y value is one more than the x value. Doesn't that actually work? So -3, if I drop it right here, -3 plus 1 is -2. 0 plus 1 is 1. It works. Now, try number 8 here, except you're going to be thinking more, I'll just give you a hint. Think multiplication. See if you can come up with the rule. And then number 9, I want you to try too. So go ahead and work through these together for a little bit and press play when you're ready to check the work, and I'll explain it. Well, did you notice that this guy right here is twice as much as this? Did anybody hopefully come up with the rule is y equals 2 times x or 2x? It works for every one of these. 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 0 is 0, yes. And then this one, I'm looking here, and it looks to me like this side and this side are always about, exactly 3 units apart. In this case, it's the y value is 3 less than the x value, and I'm hoping you guys came up with that. So that's the lesson for the day. You can work on your fixes from your homework from 2.0c if you have those to do. If you need to work on ALEKS, because it's due in about an hour or two, you can do that. Remember 15 topics. Or you can work on the new homework. And there is a Kahoot to play at the last few minutes of class. So you need about 10 minutes to do that, and you can help the teacher work through that. Have a nice afternoon. See you next week.